What's up, everyone? Here I am on the laptop. I'm so sorry for probably the terrible sound and the quality here, but for some reason, just when I logged into our streaming service here, the internet on my desktop just completely died. So I'm on my laptop here in the office. I hope that's good. Hope that's okay for everyone. How you doing, Victor? How have you been?
How is everyone doing? I say hello to everyone. Your sound is fine.
Yeah,
It sounds different, of course, but it's okay, and the visual is just fine. Don't worry about it. It'll
nice.
be fine.
Beautiful, beautiful. So today we have a very, very exciting episode. I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to interview Griff. He's going to come on in about 20, 25, 30 minutes or so. We're going to let him in a bit later. We want to make sure that we have a lot of people on here before we let him on, because he does have a lot of good experience and knowledge to share with you guys. I'm not sure if you saw the interview that Alex did with him last week, but that was a really good one. I highly recommend you go to our YouTube site, check out the videos, and check out the interview with Griff. Very good. What we're going to do now today with the interview with him is I want to ask him some questions that Alex and he didn't cover in the interview. Things like risk management, and we're going to talk more about his trailing stop losses and things like that. The thing is, the thing that's awesome is, yes, do they trade in this stream? Of course, this is a live trading room. It's the thing that we do. We trade live. Now I'm gonna be trading live on my laptop, which is gonna be interesting to say the least. But anyway, so this Griff, I'm gonna do a proper introduction of him later. But he basically, the cool thing here is he bought one challenge, and the first challenge that he bought, he passed that. He scaled the account, and he got 4 payouts. That's I don't think I have to tell you guys how impressive that is. Most people, they go through several challenges, and if I'm going to be honest, most people that get funded never even reach their first payout. It's actually very challenging. So to get multiple payouts after one challenge is insanely impressive. So it's going to be very interesting to hear what he has to say. I'm just going to see if I can share my screen on if I can share my screen here on StreamYard. I don't even know how that works on my desktop. Let's see if that's working. Is this working? Can you see this?
Yes.
What happens if
Yes.
I switch? Yeah, it looks all good. All right. Have you been trading anything today, Victor?
I have been waiting for my signal, and sometimes you get these kind of situation. I've got in EU and GU a very juicy looking, very attractive setup. Was setting up. I was expecting the signal, but it did not happen. And you got two choices when this happens. You either follow the plan, and if you follow the plan, you can expect the same results you've been having on your back testing, or you deviate from the plan. And that's a bit riskier because it's a little bit unknown. I know, of course, I got some experience where I can deviate and it'll be fine. But in this case, I didn't want to deviate, and I didn't. So I I didn't have my signal, and so I didn't get a trade yet. It can still occur, and if not, then that's fine by me. I'm here to execute my plan, and in certain occasions, I'm okay with deviating and having that discretion to enter anyways, because I see other confluences that my trade plan doesn't accommodate for. So I, instead of being limited to completely mechanical, which is not bad, I allow myself some room, but I choose when to do that. And today I chose not to go that path.
Yeah.
But to be honest, that move. I mean, I could have caught that at least. I should be in the trade in GU and EU, both of them. Actually, there were more than one trade, so it's a lot of profit that I didn't catch. But I'm okay with it. I'm calm. That's important. I don't get, I didn't give in into that FOMO, because when you deviate, in my case, if I decide to deviate, I need to do that in a good mental place, from a
Yeah.
good mental place. If I start deviating all over the place because I see, price action giving me all kind of signal, it's not good. From experience, I know I'm not gonna be consistent. My equity curve will be all over the place, and I may gain a lot, but I may also lose a lot, and I don't want that. So yeah, I didn't have a trade yet, but I'm eager to enter, healthily eager, not too much. But I will wait for my moment, and hopefully we get that in today, maybe in the trading session today with you guys on YouTube. Maybe we'll have a signal or two, and we can have a live entry. Let's see.
Yeah, so I've been, I did a quick scan. Been looking at the markets, a couple of times today, and I'm looking at everything from from a swing trader's perspective, a high time frame perspective. And today, I just feel like there's just, I feel like it's just the market is not speaking my language, or maybe I'm not speaking the language that the market is. I'm not hearing what it tries to tell me. Basically, I have a hard time kind of deciphering what it wants to tell me, right? And I feel like you need to be kind of like, you need to be on point and really understand. For me, the way I look at the market is I look at it from a kind of like an intuitive. Intuitive way, where I try to like I try to look at the markets, I try to look at price action and the levels and the way that price is reacting to the levels, and I try to just let my intuitive side make a decision if I should be trading or not. And going through the markets, there's nothing clear. I can't really see anything super clear right at this very moment, which makes me think that this is not the day I should be trading. It's better for me to wait for clear levels to be hit and clear price action, and really give me those signals that I know what it is. So GBP USD here, for example, I looked at. So yesterday, basically on Friday, got that Friday close right there. I basically just made this error. I said, this level, we're most likely going to come down and test this level. And if it does test this level, I want to go long. But I feel like there was not really, going into the lower time frames, and this is the way I want to be trading, right? I'm looking at the daily, I'm looking at high time frame levels. If we're hitting support, I want to go long, and then I go into the lower time frames to see if I can find an entry trigger on that. And I mean, yesterday at around 5 my time, we had that bullish engulfing candle on the 1 hour. So one entry that I could have made is basically just enter on that bullish engulfing candle. Stops below here, and then my TP would be based on wherever the previous high or just a decent level on the daily. And I really do think, when looking at GBP USD, yes, we did have a retest up in this area. It didn't really hit that level. So I'm thinking that GBP USD might actually make its move up to the previous range low. If not the previous range low, we have a beautiful daily level right there for a TP, but the risk to reward on that level, it would be over 2, so that would be good. I would probably take this trade. So not sure, like I want to make sure that I want to know that is this a missed trade or not? Have I missed an opportunity here? And I think when that 1 hour candle closed, well, that was around, yeah, it probably closed at 5 my time, and I think I was having dinner with the family around that time. So for me, this is not a missed opportunity, because obviously I'm not trading during dinner times. I think it's important to realize that, even though, like, yeah, this would probably not have been a trade that I would take anyway. So I think it's important to know things like that, because it's easy to look at a trade and you say, oh, I missed this opportunity, but then you got to look at, when did the signal actually happen, and what were you doing during that time? Is it your ordinary trading session? So a trade, but not a missed opportunity, I would say. I'm currently in CAD CHF. Entered this one yesterday. I believe I showed it on the live yesterday as well. So I'm just holding this one. I'm still holding GBP CHF, which is quite crazy. I'm really, religiously following the idea of set and forget, which is very unlike the way I've been trading before, but it works. Statistically, it works quite well. So I'm in Euro CHF, GBP CHF, and CAD CHF, and I'm just going to be holding these trades till either TP or stop loss gets hit. I'm looking at gold. In yesterday's live stream, we looked at the gold, and I said it looks like a possible during the live stream. We had that break lower, and a possible retest of the range lows would probably take us down to this daily level below. So going to the daily, we do have a good support below at around 2,200 level for gold. And I'm thinking now with that bearish engulfing candle on the daily and this break below the range lows on the range, I'm thinking we are moving lower for gold. So I know we have a lot of gold traders in the comments. A lot of people probably want my opinion on gold. And right now, what I'm seeing on gold is if we, I kind of like the idea of seeing it move lower. If we see a retest of that level and a rejection, something like that, that could
We
actually be
do
an entry point.
but we do have a demand area on the daily. So if I would expect some kind of reaction to that and see if the market is able to form a reversal pattern, because if so,
Are
then
you
you
looking at
might have
this?
a pot.
Is it
Yes,
that level?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. That definitely. I mean, we did test that level, and looking at 4 hour. Yeah, we do currently see some reaction to that level, but I think this to me is not. Um, I think
No, it's
what
not. It's not gonna. I agree with you. It's not gonna reverse the market is clearly breaking structures, and this could go even lower, much lower. I agree with you completely. However, the current position, I would be a little cautious to see if there's a reaction and maybe a reversal, not all the way up, not all the way breaking that move down from the last three daily candles, but something maybe a retracement to 30%, 40% before it continues, and then on the second time it reaches that demand area, perhaps break it. So I'm not sure if it's going to break it this first time around or the second time, but in any case, it's an area where buyers could be getting in right today or tomorrow. So that's, but I agree with you. It's breaking structure, and it's doing it in a way that tells us that price might have put a temporary top.
I want to mention that Alex, they have the office in Israel is closed. They have national holiday now on yesterday and today. So Alex will be back tomorrow, and so he's taking care of all the giveaways. So he's going to send out all the emails probably to all the winners probably later today. But he will be back in the office normal working hours tomorrow. So that's why the giveaways this time is a bit slow. So make sure that you stay patient. You are going to get the email. There's nothing wrong with the giveaway. All right. Yeah. So again, same thing here. Alex will be back tomorrow, and he will take care of everything with the giveaway.
And that's the same reason why he's not joining us today. He is unavailable. He's on national holiday, so
Yeah,
he'll
exactly.
be soon with us again.
Can we look at Bitcoin? Yeah, let's take a quick look at Bitcoin, guys. Make sure that you hit that hit that like button is what I'm trying to say. Let's see if we can take a look at Bitcoin. And I had a question on what happened to my mic. The internet on my desktop for some reason is not working. I'm not sure why, but it's just not working. Maybe something with my VPN or something. But I'm trying to figure out. I really want it all set up when Griff is joining. Anyway, Bitcoin. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah. So let's see, we got to add. So on the weekly, we now have the 20 EMA on the weekly is down here. So that should be, is that the weekly? Yeah, that's the weekly.
It is, yeah, that's the weekly.
Yeah. So we got the daily moving averages around here. We got the weekly open. So I mean, Bitcoin is holding 60K support quite nicely. On the weekly, it still looks pretty good, holding 60K support. There's not much to say on Bitcoin from like when I'm analyzing markets. When I see a range, especially on Bitcoin, like um, I mean, now with the weekly 20 EMA right below 60K, I think it's likely that we might get a hit of the weekly 20 EMA. I mean, the 50K region looks like a really good level to retest, but right now we're looking at Bitcoin and it's just in a range really. I got no sense of direction other than the high time frames are bullish, so I'm thinking it's bullish. That's basically that's basically it. Not much to go off.
Well, I can say something. Perhaps I can jump in and show something that I'd like to see, and to me, it's indicative of what's happening. Let me show my screen on Bitcoin. Maybe in the
I'm just
meantime,
gonna be
you
in the background.
can.
I'm gonna try to.
Yes,
I get a mic. I'm gonna try to set up. So I'm just gonna be in the background while you share your screen.
yes. Let me put my screen on stage. Yes, there you go. Well, yes, this is Bitcoin, and I see it's obviously very very bullish, right? It has little retracement, big candles, big green candles, and that hasn't been undone, right? It hasn't been neutralized yet. So we are still very much so in a bullish trend. However, we are going sideways in the last couple of weeks, as you can see. But even if we're not continuing going up, we are still forming bullish structures. Look at this. We have a weekly bullish engulfing, right? So the bulls are perhaps taking a pause, but it doesn't show yet on the weekly that they are gone, right? So they're still there. They're still defending their turf. And but if we go to, so this structure, I want to be looking. If the weekly close below this, then perhaps I don't see anything below us. So the next structure will be this engulfing here. That's another order block. So that's something to take care to take notice of. So as long as we keep above this area, and the close on this weekly is within this order block, I see no problem. You shouldn't, if you're a swinger, you shouldn't be, shorting this. Even though there might be short opportunities, of course. What I do see, if I go to the daily, look at this, the market seems to have formed, right, reacting from this daily order block, this daily structure, and it wasn't able to break it, right? So it had a first touch, the second touch, and on the third touch, it had a massive move down, lasting 4 days, right? And here, if you put little attention at the end, right, at the lower end, the lower segment of this bigger weekly support area, we have this bearish outside bar that was formed, right? This is on the daily, and it formed right away after this. Usually what happens when the market forms an outside bar, right, a bearish outside bar, doesn't mean if it's bearish or bullish, but in this case it's a bearish one, market will tend to go back to that area that it formed and move out of it, right? And as you can see, right, it broke the high of this candle, moved down, closed there, and formed an outside bar, which is a strong bearish sign. Usually the market goes a little bit, not it doesn't go retested very often, but if it does retest it, usually it is a good place for the continuation for an entry. And what happens after that? Instead of having follow through after these two candles, after that bearish outside bar, at the end of this weekly support area or demand area, what happens? The market changed completely, formed a bullish structure, right? Didn't invalidate that bearish order block right away, but in the end it did. As you can see, this is the order block, and the market had no problem breaking and closing above it, right? Had this squeeze, didn't invalidate it yet, but in the end, yesterday at yesterday's close, it did break it. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the market structure is having some difficulty going forward to continue, right? You have that trend line that was broken. It's a clear weakening or deceleration of the trend, but at this was the to me that this was the sellers trying to break much lower, and they failed, right? So if the sellers failed and the bulls came in and the buyers came in and bought the market back up, we're still in a bullish market. So price action is telling me that the bulls are still, even though it's going sideways, it's breaking bearish, and it's even forming bearish structures. As of today, this is still bullish. So I don't know. Nobody knows what will happen in the future. Perhaps it will eventually still break it and find some support much lower. But as of now, price to me, it's going to either continue sideways or maybe start from here going up again, right? I will have to see, but I don't. I see this as a good sign for the buyers. That is on. Let me see. That is on Bitcoin. Let's look at EU. Let's look at EU. We have the daily. Let's go to the daily. I have been looking at this order block last couple of days. Price did exactly what it was supposed to do, formed that order block, and came back all the way and retested it. Unfortunately, it didn't give me, that was on Friday. Unfortunately, it didn't give me an entry. So in those cases, there's nothing to do. I sit on my hands and I don't trade, or I can deviate as I told in the beginning. But I try to minimize those occasions, because I do know once I start deviating, I can start, things, my results don't tend to be much better, don't tend to improve. So what do I have? On the daily, we have this order block. This was already tested. So when it comes back as a daily structure, I'm not going to be using it anymore because it's already tapped into. It's no longer an unmitigated order block. If you go to the 4 hourly, what I'm aware of is this movement. The price formed the order block, went down, retested, and perhaps is getting ready for that move up. If that is the case, I want to still, even though I'm not going to be trading the daily, I can still catch something, an entry as it is going up. And that is my intention. So if I go to the 4 hourly, I'm looking for that 4 hourly order block that might give me that entry. And we had that 4 hourly order block forming. Price came into it and did not give me that signal again. Sometimes, just as Jonathan said, sometimes your strategy is slightly different, and it's not capturing the moves in the market, and that is fine. You shouldn't be frustrated when this happens, because your strategy is not perfect. The system, we build up the system not because it's perfect, and we hold to the system not because it's perfect, but because it gives us structure and objectivity and signals, right? It gives us yes and no, and it's not perfect, and you should know about it. It's nothing wrong with the system, even though if it happens too often, you might need to tweak it, of course. So I was looking into that, didn't give me the signal I was getting. However, you can see how price came all the way and interacted to the pip. You see, that's to the pipette perhaps with the order block, but that is not enough for me to enter. So, and today we had the similar thing happen. Forms the order block, closes here, and came down and interacted. And I was still waiting there, and that was the setup that I was looking to catch. As the market formed there, I was looking to catch. As the market would come back, get an entry, but it did not. As of now, hasn't done that yet. Might still do it later today, and if so, I'm going to be ready to catch the move in the market. And my target, since we have a daily order block, since we do have a daily order block here, my target are all the way up here. And that is something I found out in my data, that if the market moves, it doesn't do that all the time, but when the market reacts and starts switching order flow, right, from bearish to bullish, I have calculated, I have a way to calculate where, with a high precision, with high probability, where the price will reach at least. Usually it goes much further, but I want to be in a place where I have a high probability of hitting. And still haven't seen the confirmation of it, the confirmation sign, so to speak, but it is responding correctly, or the way it should. Look at these wicks, right? As it is retesting that order block, it's leaving wicks behind. Those are signs of rejection. In other words, the buyers are coming in and buying the market, and that's exactly what you want to be seeing in the market if you want to go up. If this one's go up. So on the daily, I expect some bullish candlestick pattern, and if that is so, then this will likely be a next target for EU. But we still need more information to get that. So,
Can you guys hear me?
yes, we can.
All right, beautiful. Finally got set up.
You're back. Woohoo!
I'm back. Nice. All right. So first time having a live stream with the laptop. Actually, kind of worked, and I got this like microphone, and so good to know that it's actually working when I want to. When I can't, when I'm on vacation, because honestly, guys, like I'm planning a vacation this summer, but I don't want to leave you guys. So I'm thinking, I'm talking with my fiance, and I'm like, how? So if we go on vacation, we got to make sure that I can do my live streams, right? So I bought a microphone, I bought a portable camera, I got all set up, and I have multiple screens for the laptop and everything. So yeah, you're never gonna get rid of me. Never gonna get rid of me. It feels amazing having this. Be able to get rid of all of this. That was stressful. Like I literally just joined the live stream, like connection has died. And you know what happened when I got disconnected? What actually happened was I was gonna see if there's like something with the Ethernet cable, and I pulled the wrong cable. So I actually pulled the power cable. It's amazing. All right, we got someone in the background. We got Griff. Griff is here. I'm sorry. I'm very confused with what just happened. Had two of myself on screen at the same time. Now Griff is here. We're going to be adding him into the chaos that is the 5ers live trading room. What's up, Griff?
Hey, everyone.
How's
Hey,
going,
thanks
man?
for having me on. All good, thank you. How are you?
Well, we're doing fine. We're good. It feels like we've just started the live stream. It's been messy, but yeah, my connection died, and it's been tried to do it all on laptop. But yeah, it's been good, and very happy to have you on. Actually, I saw your interview with Alex twice.
Oh.
That was good stuff. Good stuff. So for those who don't know about Griff, for those of you who haven't watched the video, now obviously you gotta go and watch the video. That's on the YouTube website. Go to videos, check it out. So from the interview, you said something interesting. You bought one challenge, you passed that challenge, you scaled the account, and you got 4 payouts. Is that correct?
That's right, yes.
That's insane. That doesn't happen every day. Like that is insanely impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, initially I made the mistake of I purchased 3 5ers challenges, and I passed all 3 at once with the same strategy. And of course, you're only allowed to trade.
Is he lagging?
Oh.
Your
That's me.
camera is frozen, I think. That's what I see. So I think we lost Jonathan. He'll be soon back. Griff, how are you doing, man? I thank you for coming on the show. Jonathan, you're back, but there's no. There you are.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm so sorry for that. It's it feels like we're just welcoming you on to the lowest quality live stream that we have right here. This never happened before, I promise.
No, it's great fun.
All right, Griff, let me know, like, tell me a little bit about your history. When did you start trading? How was how has your journey been from like when you first saw a price chart to getting multiple payouts?
Right. So I started trading in 2020, but not live trading, just backtesting, purely just researching various
That's something,
strategies.
and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but that's something I heard as well, and that's something that Victor told me as well. You said that you've backtested for 1 whole year before actually starting trading.
Yeah, I was quite thorough.
Yeah, that's insane as well. I mean that just doesn't happen. I mean, what I did, the first trade I took was basically going all in on a random altcoin in the crypto market, and you backtested for a year. That's dedication.
No. I appreciate it. No, well, I suppose, like in the interview, I said, I've kind of been in not the forex industry, but these kind of spaces before, so I knew kind of the right approach, like the approach that I wanted to take, which is, slow and steady and following the right process, not skipping any steps or cutting any corners. So I wanted to make sure that I was fully prepared when I went into it. In fact, sometimes that may be a bad decision though, because I feel like these days so many people spend their whole lives planning and preparing and never actually executing. So when I felt ready enough, and I still wasn't 100% ready. Maybe I'm not 100% ready now, that's when I decided to start trading on a very small live account. And that was around, I think, even a year and a half after I'd started backtesting and finding trading.
I think it's amazing. I think you said something. You think people might spend their whole lives preparing, and I agree with you that you have to act in the end. You can't be stuck in preparation. But if I look at the trading community, I think people are not prepared enough. I think it's still not enough. What you have done is very admirable. When you said that you spend 1 year, I think you said 1 year, a year and a half of backtesting before starting. I mean, you got my attention right there. I instantly, I was a fan of yours.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about. You said that you wanted to, also in the interview, you said you wanted to master one thing, and what's that like? Was that a decision you made early? Because usually what you have is you have all of this stuff, right? You watch everything, you kind of take everything in, and it becomes quite messy. You have people with 10 different indicators on the chart, and they're trading multiple different systems at the same time. But was that something that you decided early on to just focus on one thing?
Yes, absolutely. I think I mentioned in the interview how I'd come from dropshipping, and in dropshipping, you've got to research a product really thoroughly, and and then market it. But I had the issue of bouncing between products and bouncing between different niches. So I was trying to sell various maybe sportswear and then fashion clothes, and I wasn't really giving anything a proper chance to grow. And I'm sure if I gave any of them a chance to grow, or each of them would have worked. So coming into trading, I was like, right, I'm going to find something that resonates with me. I'm going to spend a lot of time doing that, finding what feels right. And then I'm going to spend the rest of my trading career just mastering that. And now I'm in a position where I'm quite comfortable with my trading strategy. And now when I've got one thing that works is when I might, dip my toes into various other ideas, which is something that I've been, looking into the last few months, kind of just introducing other elements from other strategies, things that I can kind of align with my current strategy to improve it. But that's I think that in trading, it's really easy to go everything the wrong way, to start back to front. And it feels right initially. Trading is back to front in so many ways. I'm sure you guys agree. The way you've got to think and the approach you've got to take initially, you've got to do everything almost backwards, So
yeah, it's amazing how to be a good
strategy.
trader, you kind of have to like to be a good trader, you just have to forget everything that you've learned. It's like you know, you really have to, you know, start thinking in different ways, and like really have that mindset of more of a probabilistic approach, which is different from what we learned in school and what we learned generally in society. So it's kind of like you have to kind of reboot and see. It's very interesting. I know
Exactly.
Let's see.
People are asking where the interview with Griff is on.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one right now, so I'm gonna post it in the.
Yeah, it is in the on the website. On the YouTube channel. If you go under the section of videos, you'll find it. It's one of the most recent videos uploaded. So not in the live section. Yeah, there you go. Got the address there. I think you mentioned something very key there, Griff. You said you focus on doing one thing good and not many things, not so good or average. And I think there is a key lesson there, and I see it. I recognize that too. That I do not like. To be a good trader, you don't have to be an expert on everything. You really don't. You're the proof of that. You just have to have one thing, know it well, do the back testing in your case, get your data, get to know your system and strategy well. And if you do that, that's enough to be successful. So that is living proof. You don't have to be know everything about trading.
Mm-hmm. I think in a lot of walks of life, it's best to master one thing rather than being kind of good at a lot of things,
Yes.
Like it's best, if you want to gamify it, it's best to put all of your skill points into one perk and then get really good at that and then kind of build everything else out evenly, like a bell curve, I suppose. I can kind of imagine everything being invested in one skill. And that's an approach to life I didn't really learn until I was a bit older. I was somebody that was not the best at anything, but pretty good at everything, if that makes sense. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to double down on trading this thing, which I found and I really resonate with and resonates with my personality and the kind of person that I am. And for, 4 or 5 years now, I haven't done anything else. So all my other skills have been thrown out the window in the cost of becoming pretty good. I like to think I'm okay.
Yes, you went trading, from being pretty good at everything to being very good at one thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I was doing I was dispersed. I was doing a little bit of sports, a little bit of like book club, all sorts of things. And now I'm just doing one thing and getting very good at it. And I think that's important in life. A lot of people they don't specialize, which is I think is how you succeed in
definitely. And I think
trading.
That's very important when it comes to trading. Is being very good at one thing is super important, having that. But also you said in the beginning, like when you have one type of trading, one system, one strategy, and when you get really good at that, like when you get almost sort of an expert at your trading system, I think that's also the time when you can actually start looking at other things and maybe other setups and then use the same approach to that. Because when you're really good at something and you've learned it, it's almost like muscle memory, right? You see a setup and you know intuitively what to do, what to put stop loss, TP. You just activate that, right? And then when you're at that point where you're kind of like trading intuitively, I think that's when you can start looking at other options. And I think in the interview, you talked about how you're trading only the 1 hour, and you're trading more of you've gone from being a systematic trader to go into more of a discretionary trading, and you focus a lot of your intuition, right? You kind of that gut feeling. You mentioned something about that. Could you describe how you use intuition in your trading? Let's say you see a setup, and is there anything from a trading psychology viewpoint that will tell you not to take a trade?
Definitely. So going from reaching intuitive trading is something which I didn't foresee before that. So for my first 2 years of live trading, I'd say, I had a very mechanical trade plan, and it would be very easy to execute. And if a trade went wrong, I followed my plan, and everything's okay. But interestingly, in 2023, the market conditions had changed quite significantly because I'm primarily a trend trader, and 2023 was quite a sideways year for many currency pairs. And there was a lot of times where my mechanical trade plan told me to execute, which was against my gut. My gut was telling me not to enter the trade. My trade plan was saying to enter the trade. And that's when I realized that I was actually being held back to some extent by my trade plan. I think you can only have a mechanical trade plan to some extent, and then your experience kind of outgrows that trade plan. And I feel in trading, unless you want a really complicated strategy, you can't really have a mechanical trade plan that quantifies all of the variables that you want to consider. So that was the stage when I was like, right, I need to make my trade plan a lot more simple. So it went from this big document to basically just a few simple open-ended questions. And now if a trade goes wrong or anything like that, I don't have a trade plan to blame. It's purely on me. So it's...
And how did that change where you previously you could blame the trade plan, but now there's no trade plan to blame? So how do you manage, for lack of a better word, the blame? How do you manage that psychologically?
Yeah, it's certainly not easy. And thankfully, I feel like you've got to start off with a mechanical trade plan, because that's where you're able to start kind of feeling and building up those psychology management skills. So when it came to ultimately getting rid of my mechanical trade plan, I kind of had the beginning of those skills to kind of manage my emotions when a trade went wrong and it was entirely my fault, or I took a trade which didn't fit my plan, the plan which is in my head at this stage. So yeah, it definitely comes at more demanding psychology management, but it means that I can trade more intuitively. I can use my experience a bit more, and I can use my gut feeling, which is something you can't really do with a mechanical trade plan. But yeah,
how about when the because there's a difference in let's say when you have a loss. A loss in itself is not a mistake, right? Losses are part of the game. How do you identify, how do you discern between a good loss where you follow your process and one just you should be avoiding, since you don't have a very specific trade plan anymore? How do you go about knowing which is it a bad loss or is it a good loss?
Yeah, that's a really good, a really advanced question. I think this isn't something that people will really consider until they've been trading for a long time. So that is a really good conversation topic. I think eventually you've been trading long enough that you are 100% honest with yourself. I think self-reflection and being able to be true to yourself is a really big personality trait you have to be a successful trader. So I think I've always been fairly honest with myself, but I know a lot of people, obviously you won't know if you're not being honest with yourself because you are not being honest with yourself. So being able to be, true to yourself, not lie to yourself, and then also doing a weekly review where, I'm completely transparent. I think you guys were talking about this before, or maybe last week. You were talking about doing your review on the weekend or even on a Friday evening in Jonathan's case. And I think that is a good starting point. But, in the heat of the moment, when you're feeling emotional and you've just taken a loss, which doesn't really fit your plan, if you're feeling emotional, then, perhaps you shouldn't have been in that trade in the first place. And it's normally a few hours later when it's a bit easier to be honest with yourself. But yeah, what would you say, Victor? That's a really interesting point.
It is. When you think about trading, people think, you just learn a skill and that's it. But in what I've seen is when you get to the next level, there's another higher level that you still have to manage and master. And it's a never ending process of, like a staircase. It doesn't finish. And it's the same thing with this. You have the mechanical, then now you're going to do something bigger, which is, adding discretion to your system, and maybe do more discretion, less mechanical, or just a little bit. That's up to everyone. And the way to know if you're deviating from the good direction is, I think you mentioned two key things. One is review, right? To review, is this, because even if you don't have a specific rule anymore, right? You have only three. You said 3 questions. Those or 5 questions, I believe you said, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, those 5 questions, they are there for a reason. And if you're really honest with yourself, and that's the second part you mentioned, you can know if it indeed accomplish and comply with that, each one. Because if you're too eager, right, you can say, oh, it's not really, but you know what, I'm gonna push it, and okay, I have five criteria that has been complied, has been satisfied. So that is where the honesty with yourself, which you mentioned very accurately, comes into play. You have to be, know for yourself, okay, is this me eagerly wanting to enter, or is this really, whatever criteria it is, if this really happening right now? So it is those 2 questions. I would say you answered that very, very nicely, because it's like that. It's this, and these are things that you need to go through them. It's a process. You need to go through them yourself to be able to build those skills. Nobody can. Someone can show you, right, by an example, but you cannot, just learn this like this. It's not like a rule and okay, I know it, I can do it. You have to experience it yourself. And I think you're a very great example, because I'm honest. I admire the way, the progress you have been showing. It's very commendable.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, I gotta watch the replay, because I waited several days to ask that question about intuition. We're not gonna repeat that, but I have to watch the replay. I don't know what's up with my computer today, but this will have to work. So maybe I think the people watching, I'm pretty sure they want to see, like, what does a setup look like? What do you have in TradingView? What's your go-to trade? And maybe kind of break down a setup, what you're looking at. In StreamYard, you can press present, and then you'll be able to share a screen or application. Just let me know if you need any help with that.
I think I got it. Can you see my TradingView now?
Yes, we can, but we can. I'll put it on. That's it.
All right, perfect.
Okay, perfect. So before showing any trade examples, I'll walk you through the patterns that I trade. So when I first started trading, I only traded trends. So those entries were a simple flag, a break and retest, so like this kind of pattern, which requires a trend at the beginning, and then a reversal entry. This I would kind of classify this as a trending entry, because you're getting in the very best position, which is at the very beginning of a trend. So I kind of put that in the trending category.
Yeah, that's kind of like a break and retest, like a break of structure, like start of an uptrend, right?
Exactly. It's like an inverted version of one of these, I guess.
That's my picture perfect setup right there. The third one, where you have like the end of the trend and the start of the new one. That's just beautiful. When you get those and they keep running, it's beautiful.
When I knew I was coming on this, I watched a few of your live streams, and I've seen you take a few entries like this, especially into like an area of supply and demand, right? I think you really like those kind of entries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, you definitely did your homework. That's amazing. So cool.
Thank you. And then there's also a kind of combination of these two, which is like a break and retest flag. So that is generally these are very high probability, because it's literally a combination of the two. So for my first few years trading, I'll take you to the DXY quickly. I was trading from around September 2021 to now. But you can see my first few years trading, we're just in a huge uptrend. So obviously I had a lot of success trading these trend entries. I mean, if I was just taking buys the whole year, I'd be doing pretty good. But then coming into 2023, it was quite different market conditions, and price was very range bound. And this was still at a stage when I was, I suppose, quite stubborn in many ways, and I'm doing one thing and nothing else. And I think towards the end of last year, I started to open up a bit, and I feel like I started to look into other things. I opening my mind a little bit because I'd become so confident in my trending entries. So it was at this stage when I started to introduce some, I'd call them range band entries, but they've got all sorts of names, liquidity sweeps, whatever. So building on some concepts I'd kind of acquired from the last few years trading trend entries, I'd started trading a liquidity sweep, which kind of looks like this. So need a push down, and then a range strengthens this area. And then as we sweep, I'm just looking for an entry candle like that. Very simple. This is something I've just introduced recently. But this is like support and demand, supply and demand, right? A support and resistance kind of liquidity. And my friend, Nico, from my trading community Zentum, he was doing the same thing, but with trendline liquidity. So we've got these two new entries now, which I've only been backtesting for the last 3 or 4 months to capitalize on these more range-bound conditions. And in 2023 market conditions, when it's very much more sideways, this is great to have in the toolkit, because now I've got the trending entries and these range bound entries, and the market range is like 70% of the time, right? I don't know if you guys trade any entries like this. I imagine it's quite similar to your entry, Jonathan.
I mean,
right?
I can look at it. Let's say I look at a daily range, for example, and we have a daily candle, daily fake out. Daily fake out of range highs, then I would look at a short down to the middle of the range or the low or whatever. So
I see. Yeah.
I guess some people say liquidity sweep. I guess that's what it is. I usually just say like a deviation above range high, and then I short. So it's basically shorting a fake out is what I'm looking at.
I see. That's interesting. Yeah, because I noticed, and this is all quite new to me, so I'm better with the trending entries. You guys probably know more about me, more than me with these things. I noticed you often
not really, man. Like I'm a trend following break and retest trader. I'm good at one thing, honestly.
Yeah.
That's
good.
I focus on but I actually like recently I started looking at what you just described here. Looking at levels, and then you have that liquidity sweep or deviation or fake out or whatever. And usually when that happens, we do see strong moves in the opposite direction.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we've seen it recently with I'm on the weekly time frame. I only trade the 1 hour, so it definitely might be a bit I'm not very good on the higher time frames.
But let me ask you a question on that though. Like do you only look at the 1 hour?
Yeah, I don't go on any other time frame.
So like
that's impressive. Obviously, that's impressive right there.
Yeah, but I mean, what you're doing is definitely working. But have you considered, because if I were you, and I would be getting really good at what I was doing, using the 1 hour. What if you can, when you do get the hit, like when you hit a high time frame level, you at least know that this entry on the 1 hour is now at a high time frame level, or maybe like, because I did, but by listening to the interview, I understood that you're thinking about potentially going into the lower time frames when it's time for an entry, right?
Not thoroughly. I mean, it's kind of, the possibility is there, the same way that I can look at the higher time frames to make my trades more high probability. I'm a lot more open to ideas from all sorts of places, as long as it's not too many ideas at once, because I'll get overwhelmed. But I am looking to ideas from anywhere now. Yeah, I mean, low time frame, higher time frame. I'm open to it. I do like the freedom that the 1 hour time frame gives me, because of course on the lower time frames I'd be having to check the charts a lot more frequently, or even trading sessions. But with the 1 hour time frame, I know that the pattern which I trade, which sets up the fastest, is the break and retest. This can form in 3 candles. So I know that generally, if there's nothing really setting up, I only have to check the chart once every 3 hours. But I am definitely open to introducing a higher time frame bias. But generally, the way that I've managed that in the past is just by zooming out like this. But I don't really put too much weight on this, to be honest, because I haven't in my back testing. But yeah, I'm
yeah,
open
and I mean,
to it.
also, I think if what you're doing is working well, then maybe you shouldn't be changing anything.
Yeah, I do get that feeling.
Yeah, well, I think what you're seeing is actually, before I ask you that, let me ask you another question that I got here. Actually, I saw it in the chat. It's not mine, to be fair. What is it? Now you showed us, the patterns. You're actually trading chart patterns, right? So what is it that you focus during the time you were doing back testing in that year? Did you focus only on this pattern, or were you testing out different kind of pattern, different kind of entries, different kind of stop losses, etc.?
Yeah. So that first year of back testing, obviously before that, I'd spent several months, briefly diving into various strategies and seeing what resonated with me. And what resonated with me the most was those first 3 or 4 trending entries I showed you. So the flag, the continuation, break and retest continuation, and the reversal break and retest. So I knew I liked those. And when I first did my back testing, I took every valid setup. So no matter how ridiculous the flag looked, I would take it and I'd put it in my data, and I would have hundreds and hundreds of trades each year, and a lot of them bad. But at the end of that year of backtesting, taking all of the good trades and all of the bad trades, I was still profitable. It still worked out in the positive. So I knew from the get-go, if I just took every trade, I'll be positive. And then from there, I looked at all of my winning trades, and I looked at what worked rather than looking at what didn't work. I looked at what did work, because I was focusing more on filtering in the winners than filtering out the losses, because losses are unavoidable anyway. So more focused on the winners. And I had a lot of takeaways. So, the first being prior price action is way, way more important than the entry itself. This entry right here is beautiful, this flag entry. But coming from a range like this, it doesn't mean anything. This makes it a lot less likely to play out. So that kind of shifted my focus away from the entries, which I just spent a year, a long time backtesting, to the prior price action. So prior price action that tends to play out is when we're in a huge trend. Obviously, a trending entry works there. When we're descending and we're starting to see a reversal. Another piece of high probability price action is when we have a range and we have liquidity building up below this range. We dip into that, and then we get a reversal in the opposite direction. This led to me thinking about V shapes, which is basically this kind of thing. Ends up just being a head and shoulders, really. Quite often, when we see a V and a range, we'll see a continuation of this second leg of the V. The initial range doesn't really matter. This alone is very high probable. What else do I really like in prior price action? Yeah, I mean, those are the key ones that I'm really looking for. Trends coming from channels. And so once I kind of built up this knowledge of, okay, prior price action is very important, that's when I started looking closer at the entry themselves. And I started filtering out the flags which say had a really strong pullback, something like this. At this point, price is more likely to trickle down because we've seen a shift in momentum. And then I would look at, say, if there's a big wick on top, these tend to reverse as well, unless you see a range. then they tend to work out quite well if there's a wick. So generally, if there's a flag with a wick, I'll look for a range to give proof of no shift in momentum, and that momentum is still overall to the upside despite that wick. And then, sorry if I've gone a bit long-winded.
No, that's Fern. That's exactly the idea that you share. Let us peek into your process. So these last few nuances that you mentioned, right? The flag, they're different kind of flag. They're not all created equal, and in the market, you will not find that textbook perfect pattern, right? And the art of trading, when you're trading, especially if you're trading discretionary, the art is to know which ones are the good ones and which ones are not. And you mentioned a couple of things like the wick on top, the big handle in the opposite direction at the beginning of the flag. Are these the things that you found out during that backtesting phase, or is this something that you picked up later?
Definitely a little bit of both, because I think when you experience it in the live market, I'm like, that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that to happen. Then I'll take that information and I will go to my backtesting with it. So I guess the forward testing, so the live trading, is where I first notice it, and then I take it to my back testing to like confirm my theory.
Okay, so you saw it, you observed it after your period of back testing, and then you went back to consult your data to confirm it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I have a question about this specific trade right here. Maybe you could. I'm curious to know. What's the exact, because that's rather tight stop loss. So what is the exact entry criteria? I guess it's like that. I see you also have, is that an indicator that colors the candles?
Oh, no, yes. So I have an inside bar indicator.
Right.
This is for my, well, if I go to the most recent price action, you might be able to see it more clearly. So I've got an indicator. In the past, I draw these on manually, and it was hell, because I'd be drawing on these little lines at every break of the high and low. So this is something which, it took me a few months to get used to, but I have a system where I'll draw on the highs and lows. I'll try and explain it briefly. Inside bar indicator, just when the candle doesn't break the previous candle's high and doesn't break the previous candle's low. So it's within the previous candle's high and low. And then the way I draw on the high and lows, this is kind of how I trail my stop loss, which I know you were interested in. So when let's say, okay. So we've got a move and we've got the high and low. When we break this high, I will work my way back at the tops of each candle until we have a candle which isn't lower. And then I will go to the other side of that candle, and this will be my low. And then I'll have my highs and lows like this. And then each time you do this, high and low, and then I will trail my stop loss below the lows.
That's beautiful. Exactly how.
Yeah, that's market structure. Well. That's nice.
That's very good.
Cool. So it is, this is still automated, and there's a lot of times where I see a trade entry, but it doesn't really fit my criteria based off of maybe in the past price action there was a candle which let's say I'm looking for a break and retest, but in prior price action there may be a move like this. This one candle may be because there'll be a little counter trend move there, and the highs and lows may be different. That can sometimes make all of the difference whether I enter a trade or not. So I am kind of phasing that indicator out. I don't really rely on it so heavily anymore, but I think again that's a mechanical element which I introduced early on, which has served me well up until now. Until I'm kind of outgrowing it.
Would you say that? Would you say, because you said also when you get a flag pattern, it's very important to understand where the move came from. And when you look at like traditional TA, a flag pattern is obviously a continuation pattern in a trend, and it's not it's not usually a move you should be trading within a range or just above a range or something like that. So looking at that perspective, it sounds like you have you're looking at the behavior of the trend, and you're kind of trying to get a feeling for the behavior of the trend that you're trading, and that kind of also decides if you want to enter.
Yeah, I remember that was kind of something I struggled with for a while, because I'd be trying to know when the market phase had shifted. Isn't an easy thing to do, especially when I was relying on an indicator in my early days to some degree to kind of determine the market phase. And if we're in a range and a flag forms here, this doesn't really mean anything to me, because we're likely to just continue ranging, especially earlier in the week. Mondays and Tuesdays tend to be a lot more range bound. So generally, if we're in a range or quite choppy price action, I will need to see price leave this range before I consider any trending entries. Yeah, this is especially difficult with the break and retest, because you might get a break and retest forming outside of the range, but in reality we're just starting to come back into it. So generally I do look at how much we break above or outside of the range. This is quite important.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I basically, what I get from you is that you learned through data and through experience that the context of the pattern is very important. It makes a lot of difference if it's in a strong trending market, or if it's in a ranging market, because it makes all the difference. So that's applicable for also actually, I think all chart patterns. The context is very important, as well as candlestick patterns, right? Like rejection, it depends where it happens. If it just happens anywhere in the middle of nowhere, it may not doesn't say much. So that's great stuff, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are
go ahead. Sorry.
Those are great. I think gems for the viewers.
Oh, good.
So you don't trade, but if you have a big range, and I guess it's a matter of perspective. But let's say I have a big range, and would you be able to trade a trend between, like, I guess you don't see those big ranges because you're only looking at 1 hour anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But, it's something. I guess that's something where it's kind of like the fact that I don't know is to my benefit, because I don't think in trading you need to know everything in some ways. Obviously, having a higher time frame bias would often be to my benefit, but there may be some occasions where it's to my own detriment. Because I might say we're in this larger range, and so let's say a trending entry forms right here, but you don't want to take it because we're in this larger range. Well, if I don't know that we're necessarily in that larger range, then I might take the trade, and that's the first point where we leave the range. You don't know when it's going to continue ranging and when it's going to start trending. And I guess without knowing what's going on the higher time frames, I kind of that saves me in some ways, I guess, because maybe it's always got a range like this in the background somewhere.
I mean, it's almost like, I'm posting a trade on Twitter, and someone's like, "Oh, what about the OB? What about that OB on the 5 minute? Or what about that level?
Yeah.
Or what about this indicator? Or what about
you don't need it.
that news coming out in?" It's like, I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about. So I think that being very isolated in your system and your strategy is a very good thing, because obviously, because of analysis paralysis, too much analysis is never a good thing. And I actually think, like, there almost can't be too little analysis in TA, because trading at its very, very core is I mean, a profitable trading system, like, the way I'm trading, for example, it's so simple. I don't even think it can be any more simpler. Like, I see resistance, I short. That's basically it. And
but it wasn't that simple once, was it? I imagine one time it was a lot more complicated.
Yeah, and I lost a lot of money.
Yeah, but you had to go through that phase, I feel, to get here now.
And that's
I think a lot
of people in the interview, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be complicated before it gets simple, right? I think that is it's great.
Because obviously this looks easy. But then
Yeah.
this flag right here, I've shown you the pattern. Like a lot of people probably think that they can start trading it straight away and making money. But that's without realizing, I have a 40% win rate. They don't know, I have quite a high risk reward because I've optimized my stop loss, which is something you asked about. I'll talk about that in a moment. And they're also not seeing all the flags that I'm not taking, because flags do set up everywhere all the time. And, they won't know the price action I'm looking at. They don't know what I consider high probability and low probability based off of my 4 years of trading, which isn't a long time in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I think that's kind of the allure of trading. Is initially it looks easy and you dive in and then you start failing, and then you're right. If you're stubborn enough, you carry on, and then you make everything really complicated, and then you might continue failing, and then only once you've optimized it through all that the complications is when I think you start having some degree of success, is when you've come back down the curve and it's all simplified.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to Victor, I see you really want to say something. Can I just say it quickly?
Go ahead.
So I like when it comes to trading, being easy and simple. I think the problem with trading is like when obviously it's not easy to become a doctor, right? I mean, it's not like you're just gonna walk into a hospital and like, today I'm gonna try being a doctor. I mean, obviously you have to go through years of studying, but to become a trader, all you really have to do is go online and open a brokerage account, put in money, and open your first trade. It takes 5 minutes, and now you're a trader. So I think it is like that's. I think everyone is capable of putting on a profitable trade, but you probably need as many years of studying price action and backtesting and all of that to become a profitable trader, just like becoming a doctor. So I think that it's definitely problematic that trading is seen as a kind of like a get rich quick scheme, and it's very easy to become a trader, but very, very hard to kind of master that. All right, sorry for that, Victor. Let me know.
No problem, man. I do want to say something, Jonathan. Maybe you can lower your the quality of your video in StreamYard, because that may help you with the FPS, with the frame per seconds.
But it's like I get it on 360p. It's the lowest possible right now. I think.
Maybe then it's not that then. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna.
I have a question for you, Griff. From what I hear, you mentioned that you don't take all the flags, and people don't, if they see you that you're successful doing something very like chart patterns are one of the first thing people learn about when they trade, right? And but then they sort of put it away and they gravitate toward things that look more like expert or advanced, things like ICT but the and that is something I like about your process, that you stick to one thing and you extract it, and the payouts you have is the proof of that. You extracted the edge that there is in something considered by many to be something very basic, a flag pattern, right? But there's something, the key I think here is you mentioned you're not taking all the flags, and people don't see all the other ones that you don't take. In other words, you're selective.
Yes,
right?
very conservative.
Very selective. Yeah. Yes. And then the next question is, if you're selective, how many trades do you get per day, per week, per month?
Yeah. So before I've introduced all these range-bound entries, I would probably be taking maybe 5 trades per month max, like at the high end.
Wow.
Sometimes probably an average 3 or 4 trades per month. That last year, when I showed you on the DXY, it was just sideways. There were several months where I took 0 trades, and I just waiting for trends to happen. And that's because of my prior experience, knowing kind of when the right and when the wrong market conditions is. I can look at a chart and see, that we're not really starting any trends. We're just chopping up and down, and there are no opportunities. But yeah, the few trends that do end up continuing end up paying for all of my losing trades.
Yeah. That's the typical profile of a breakout strategy. It's what is your win rate? I suppose with that you have less than 50%.
Yeah, generally. I mean, in my back testing, it's about 50%, but of course that's like perfect, and there may even be a little bit of bias in there, that subconscious bias that I'm not noticing. Over, I feel like it is very hard to be 100% honest with yourself, because your subconscious remembers when your conscious doesn't. So there might be I might be back testing it, and in the back of my mind, I remember this trade, and I'm taking it live, even though it may not actually fit my plan.
Wait a minute. I'm back. I'm gone 1 minute, and I'm looking at like a 20-hour trade. Like I'm missing everything here. Was that an actual trade?
This is a trade I've taken live, and it made me 25%.
Right, so you risk 1% of the trade.
That's right, yeah. So my account balance increased 25% with this one trade.
And you're able to have like multiple payouts. You haven't lost the account. That's
yes. Obviously, this is I brought this up because it's one of the best trades I've taken, and I've got another one over here. All happened in January of 2023. On EJ and AJ, I believe alone, uncompounded, I'd made about 80% in that month.
That's
just from simple trades.
Insane indeed.
Yeah, that's a yearly, like that's a yearly profit.
Well, here's the thing, right? It literally was, because the rest of the year in 2023 was sideways and break even. I mean, I had a few winning trades which paid for the majority of my losses, but
that's a great lesson right there. That's a great lesson. So most of you watching, like, understand that 80% of the profit is usually done in 20% of the year, and that's true across most of trading. So think about that. So 80% of the year you will not make a lot of money, and then all of a sudden, boom, 2 or 3 months you're going to be making a shit ton of money. Like that's basically
exactly
trading.
Yeah. So I remember I had these trades in January, and then the following months, February. In fact, I can probably I can give you the exact data. Let me check my journals. So I made about 80% in January of 2023, and then the following months was just like 2% profit, -3%, -5%. So it wavers like that, and I think because 2023 was such a sideways year for me, the only other significant winning month I had was in October, where I made 10%. But I think I closed out the year of 2023 at about 84%. And
basically most of it was in January.
Most of it was from January, exactly.
Wow.
And
so
not every year is like that, but yeah, I know. The commissions ate me up in January because I had taken so many trades, and it was break even most months. But of course, every year is different. I had trending years where I'm making 5% a month, like fairly consistently. And 2023 was such a great learning experience for me to know that those years can occur. It was a really positive year for my live trading, because I was able to see that there are some years where I will make pretty much nothing, and I might have all of my return from 1 or 2 months, which was, over when, like, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're trading it live every day for 6 months and not really making anything, it's not easy as a swing trader to be patient. And when you see ICT, like you were saying before, and you see other strategies on the 5-minute time frame extracting 2% every few days, sometimes it does make you think and doubt your strategy. But ultimately, I stuck with it, and I innovated. I introduced range bound entry. And now I can trade all market conditions.
Yeah, I mean, imagine. So you're looking at someone like, imagine looking at scalper and like, wow, what if I could, switch to scalping instead and make that amount of money every day, or maybe even you sit in 1 hour. But the thing is, like, everyone's just showing their winners. So if you were to show those 2 trades, I bet hundreds of people would say, oh, I'm going to switch to the way he's trading, so
exactly.
you're looking at their trading and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be switching, but they're looking at your trading and say like, yeah, I'm going to be switching to whatever this guy is doing. So I think it's important to realize that social media has destroyed trading. The expectations that people have in trading, it's just terrible. You're going on Twitter or Instagram and it's like, oh, all right, so I got to be trading for 6 months and then I can buy a new house and a car and I'm just going to be super rich, and I don't have to do anything. I can just sit on the beach with a laptop and make money. That's amazing. I mean, that's not what trading is. It's easy to be drawn into that lure of system hopping when you see like everyone else is just making a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's why I went in not going to system hop. Like that was very important for that was one of my pillars when I first started. Sorry.
But did you have a mentor that kind of told you these things?
Yes, I had a trading community early on, and it was around a year and a half ago when I decided to leave that community. I felt like I'd kind of outgrown it, and it was almost, I was, I think, sorry, I might be repeating myself. I think in the interview I said this, that I was kind of, eventually you're kind of handicapped by the kind of the experience of your mentor. So you're only really growing when your mentor is growing. And my friends and I, we all, because there's a few of us trading this strategy, and we all kind of resonated with this feeling. And in the end, we decided to set up our own trading community where we're more like equals, if that makes sense. There's no like hierarchy, like founder and student and mentor. We're all kind of working alongside each other to grow a strategy, which is something I thought, so I've still got a community in that sense. But yeah, initially I did have a mentor above me. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, the things that you're saying is just perfect, yeah.
Something you mentioned, I think, is also very key. You mentioned that the 2023 taught you that the wins and losses, they do not occur like every month the same. Like you mentioned 80 R in January and maybe 10 R in October, but when you finished the year, you had 84. So basically, you had 1 month 80 R and 11 months 4 R distributed among that, and I think that's I recognize that when you start as a new trader, you think, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to exploit, or I'm going to extracting this amount every week or every month, and you have certain expectation in terms of what is possible, but that's not how it works in reality. There's a lot of fluctuation and variation in when your strategy works, how much it produces, and also a lot of variation of drawdown, right? Drawdown can be, it doesn't have to be the same every month. Actually, it isn't. And that this is something only that you will find out with time. And that brings me to the other question I have. During the time you have done backtesting, what is in terms of R, what is the max drawdown that you measured in your backtesting?
So around 13%, if I'm not mistaken. So I feel like that isn't too bad. But like my system can definitely reach a 10% drawdown once or twice a year with the win rate. Just because the wins I'm targeting, like the average winning trade is so much larger than my average loss. I reckon if I were to target 2 or 3 R, that would kind of balance out, and my drawdown would reduce, but my profit would also reduce at the cost of having a more, and then I'd have a more consistent system.
I understand. Yeah,
more consistent on a monthly basis, because on a yearly basis, yeah, I'm making more percentage. Like I'm consistent on a yearly basis, and I'm making more percentage for it. But if I wanted to be profitable every month to, satisfy my ego, then going for smaller winning trades would make more sense, because I think we're on the same page. Yeah.
The max drawdown that you measured in your back testing, is that comparable when you started doing forward testing and now that you're trading live?
Yes. So I think in live trading, sorry, I had gotten mixed up. My max drawdown in backtesting is about 10%, and my max drawdown in live trading is about 13%. So it's a little bit worse, which of course, I account
It's
for.
normal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's normal because that's you executing it.
Have you mentioned anything about your risk? Your risk management? Are you lowering risk in drawdowns?
Yeah, I saw. So this was something that I saw Victor talking about, and I thought it was quite interesting. I wanted to talk about it as well. So you'd kind of drawn how you were increasing your risk as you were winning, and you were reducing your risk as you were losing, right? But I would argue that well, I guess you're introducing exponentials, but I would say that this isn't much different from just having a consistent risk percentage, right? At least for my strategy, this probably wouldn't work because my winners are so sparse, but so big, So I understand if you're taking consistent 2R or 3R winners, this is definitely the risk management that I would follow. And I think that's makes a lot of sense. But for me, who will have a winning trade, I'll make 10% all from one trade 1 month out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting it. Could have just as easily been another winner. I have to keep my risk like this. In the past, I have experimented with risk ladders where I am increasing my risk as I'm winning and reducing my risk as I'm losing. But this ultimately ended up leading to me staying around break even because I'd be losing, and then I'd have a big winning trade, which would take me back to break even. And then I'd continue, losing and reducing my risk. So, I'd end up having my breakout winning trade when I would have significantly reduced my risk, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the problem I'm having as well with not being consistent with risk, because it's like, yeah, I'm lowering my risk when I'm in a drawdown, but then the big winner it's a small winner, right? So that's the problem I'm having as well. Like usually in the drawdowns, so I try to. I want to be consistent with risk, but I want to make sure that risk is small enough for me never to blow the account, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something you mentioned there. What you did was what I propose is to include the exponential growth that you get from using a profit basically as part of your drawdown. But indeed, what you're saying is that how did you know that this didn't work as well for you? Did you go back to your backtesting data and did you apply that to see or was this more intuitively because you know how your strategy works?
I did try this live on one of my funded accounts, and this one account specifically ended up doing the break-even dance, whereas my other accounts were getting into the green more often, and I was able to take a payout, whereas the one where I'd reduced risk, it had just gotten back to break even.
If
that makes sense.
Well, what I think what is the key thing is that you need to and that goes with every management advice, that be trade management or risk management or any other advice that you might find. You need to go back and see what it does and that's why you need data, right? Because with any management advice you can get, if you test that out with your data, it will tell you confirm or not that if it is going to work for you or not, because a good advice may not be good for everyone. In my case, the difference, I think, what the difference I see is the reason I propose this is because my risk is 0.05% of my balance, right? And
wow.
I can have like 15 trades in a day, and while you're doing 1% and having 5 in a month, I think you mentioned, right? And those metrics are completely different, and they can have profound differences in how each risk management performs. And the best way to do it is to test with your back testing or your forward data. Look to see if it would have been better for you to do this or that, right? Either one, but you have to have data before you change and adopt any risk management rule, and that applies to everyone.
Well said.
All right, Griff. I think it's been an hour. I think actually I would love to have you on more on the live trading room here. I think people in the comments they love you. You'll be getting a lot of good comments on the video. So guys, let us know in the comments if you want Griff to get on here again in the future. Maybe show some more trading views, some more analysis on trading. So let us know in the comments if you want him on again. I'm pretty sure they want him on. Of course, I don't even have to ask. But yeah, man, it's been an hour. We have a giveaway going on, so make sure that you guys all like the video. You check the link in the link in the pinned comment in the comment section. So yeah, Griff.
Again, before one last thing, what would you say to the new traders coming into the space? What is the single most thing that advice that you could give them?
New traders, I definitely start off with a trading community if you can. I think there are plenty of good trading communities out there, and really generally it'll set you up with quite a strong foundation that is going to be very much appreciated later down the line. Just make sure it's a good community, because you don't want to be led astray either and be
And speaking of good communities, Griff is in a community called Centum Trading, which you can find on centumtrading.com. So definitely check them out. You do that right now. Well, not right now. Wait till the actual live stream is over, and then you can check them out.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. Okay. So Griff, honestly, it's been a pleasure having you on, and I would love to have you on again when maybe my connectivity issues is better, so we can have a more proper live stream with you. Maybe we can do sort of a live trading session where we get to see how you actually execute some trades. I recognize this face. I've seen this face somewhere.
He's one of my friends in Centum.
All right. So you got 3 people in there. That's pretty cool. So you're a group of like friends trading together, and you have your own community. That's awesome. It's very important that you find your trading group. A group of buddies that kind of discuss trading. It's definitely important. Trading can be a very lonely occupation. So yeah,
indeed.
Make sure you guys surround you with good people out there.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I really enjoyed speaking to both of you. I hope I get to speak to you again. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, man. All right, take care.
All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you for being
Thank
here.
you, everyone. Bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
All right, that was good. That was good, man. I really we need to get him on. Like, dude, I was looking forward to this interview, and then like connectivity issues. I'm on my laptop. I even made notes, with questions and that. I couldn't even access all the questions.
Hey man, things happen sometimes.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is what it is, man. That happens when you're live, right? There's no chance of redoing, editing.
What's that law? The law that says if everything can go
Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law, right?
Murphy's Law, yeah.
Yeah, that's. Guess that's what happened. All right, guys. So we have the link in the comment to Gleam. You can find it in the comment section. It is the pinned comment in the comment section, and the secret word for the giveaway is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm just gonna give it a couple of minutes. Victor messaged me in private chat asking for a 10-minute pause, and we're not gonna take a 10-minute pause. I'm sorry, Victor. You have to pee in a bottle today. It's not gonna be in pause. I'm kidding. Now we're gonna cut it a bit short here because we've just had the We just had the interview here, and I think that went very well. And I'm not seeing anything in the markets. I'm not seeing any interesting setups that I'm going to be entering today. So we're just going to be giving it a couple of minutes. I think make sure that you guys hit that like button, because when we end the live stream, I will report the numbers to Alex, and Alex will select a number of people to win accounts based on the number of likes. So right now we have 598 likes. You can get that up to 6. Now we got 600. That means we have 6 accounts to give away, and I think we're not going to reach 700 now, are we? Maybe. So make sure you do hit that like button. And you stay. Alex is on holiday. They all, the office, the 5ers, they all have national holiday today, so they are away and doing holiday things. Alex is probably out partying. He's going to be back tomorrow, probably hungover. This is what I'm guessing. Tomorrow is going to be amazing. That's going to be amazing because we're going to do a live scalping session. All right. So what we're going to do is, so we're going to have, this is a crazy idea, but we're going to have one account, and we're all three, me, Victor, and Alex, we're all going to have access to that one account, and we're going to be trading the 1 minute. All right. Everyone has to be trading the 1 minute. Okay. If I see Victor or Alex not trading the 1 minute, I'm going to kick them out of the live stream. Right. We're only going to be trading the 1 minute, and none of us are really scalping on the 1 minute. None of us are really scalpers. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how we can trade that account together. We're all going to have access to that account, same account, and we're going to see if we can make any money, and then we'll see who's the best scalper. I suspect that we'll go into drawdown, and then we'll stay in drawdown for a while, and then we have to have like a crisis meeting what to do about the account. That's going to be amazing.
It's important to tell everyone that this is done a little bit with entertainment in mind, right? It's not, don't take it as an example, right? It's not to say we want to set an example that you have to do something that you haven't prepared yet. But this is more a little bit, we all are traders, so we know a thing or two about trading, and we will be doing this, putting ourselves in out of our comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
But still trying to do good risk management, good market analysis, and everything, and see just how we will fare, right? So it's a little bit of entertainment. This is not how we trade, so things can go completely wrong. But it's part of you will see us trip, and that's part of the entertainment.
Yeah, and so Saul is a great scalper, and that's why he's not going to join tomorrow, because we want to have a chance of actually winning. Because if if Saul gets on here and he joins the challenge, yeah, we're all screwed. So Fernando says 1 account each, so we can see who win. Well, no, we're gonna have 1 account, and we're gonna all access that account, and then Alex will be able to look at the back end, like the 5ers trading back end, to see who's actually made more money, right? Who's actually
we're gonna be trading 1 pair each. So
oh, really?
By looking
one pair each.
1 pair each. So at a pair, we will
But that sucks. Then the one that gets the best pair wins. Like, so do we like? Well, okay, so we gotta make sure that we I'm gonna get a dice. I'm gonna roll dice on who gets because I'm pretty sure that we both want Euro USD probably. Like we all three want EU.
Not necessarily. I have a choice. I can do GU. I can do EU.
Right.
I can trade something else as well, because it's not about applying my system with my rules. It's something different.
You're gonna trade ruble versus the Chinese currency. That's your pair. Good luck. Let's calculate that one like 10 pips top load. All right, guys.
The spread is half the daily ATR.
This is interesting. The winner chooses have. Yeah, this is a good one. I like this. Let's see what.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, you're part of the team now, Victor. You don't have anything to say about that. If you,
let's take a vote on that.
the customer is always right. Henry right here is probably right. I think it's right.
By the way, you solved your video. You're not lagging anymore. Your
Nice.
picture crisp screen, so it's very good. You solved
Nice.
it.
All right. When will we get to see the masked clown? That's probably never.
Ooh.
But I'm gonna try. Well, there's probably one of those. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm just prolonging this to see if we can get up to 700 likes. It looks like we're not gonna get 700 likes today. We're at 635 right now. Guys, everyone that has entered into the giveaway will get an email later today by Alex when he gets back from the club or wherever he is.
The beach.
Yeah, he's probably going to get back tomorrow. But he's going to get back later today. He's going to send out the email, and he I made sure to message him and say that the duplicate winner from yesterday are going to draw a new one. So yeah, it's guys, get hyped for tomorrow. It's going to be a crazy day, and it's no winning guaranteed. Like, honestly, it's just going to be fun. Like, I'm going to go into this with just have a fun time and not think too much about the performance, because I'm pretty sure it's going to get crazy.
You're lowering the expectation. I know what you're doing. You're lowering the expectation.
Yeah. Hopefully I get a good big winner.
What are the rules? Can we switch time frame to look for high time frame bias or structures?
Honestly, I think it would be fun just to do the 1 minute. Is just to be like on the 1 minute all the time.
Okay, all the time. So you only have one screen minute. We'll think about the pair selection. If we want to do it or not.
Yeah, the code to the giveaway is 123456. I see someone in the comment is asking. Somebody's going to give it a couple of minutes. So the code, the link to the giveaway is in the pinned comment in the comment section, and secret word to the giveaway is 123456. Yeah, exactly. One currency pair. There's no way I'm going to be scalping gold. I'm sorry, but there's no way I'm going to be scalping gold. Alex is not going to be scalping crypto. We're going to do forex. I'm probably going to be scalping Euro NCD if it has good spreads. I like Euro NCD is probably one of my favorite, most favorite forex pairs. If you look at the daily and the weekly for Euro NCD, it's pretty much the perfect picture market structure. So I like Euro NCD is probably going to be my go-to, depending on the spreads. All right, thanks for joining everyone today. It's time to end the live stream. How many likes we have?
Before you go, there's news just came out. EU GU is just shooting up. Let me share my screen. Look at this. Right. That is the 5-minute chart, and news just came out, and we had a huge reaction. On the hourly you can't see it, but on the minute, this is a reaction we just had a minute ago, right at 45, 50 minutes before the hour change, and it is shooting up like crazy.
All right, it's a good risk on move. Let's see what I gotta look at my position, see if I have any. Yeah, I got no. Yeah, okay, good stuff. We got some volatility. We got some movements. We have EU moving higher. Might set up for a nice. Might set up for a nice some good trades tomorrow. Now we got some that risk on move is back.
It's a very nice move. A lot of a lot of momentum. You can actually see that how the market structure, right? Staying in the same pattern, chart patterns, right? You can see that how it broke out to the upside.
Yeah,
that falling wedge after that move up, it's nicely.
Yeah,
Cool.
I did change my mic. I'm on my laptop, and and other mic, my desktop is got no connection on there. And then yes, we did sort that out. We're gonna draw we're gonna draw another one, so there's not gonna be any duplicate winners, and we'll discuss if there's anything fix to that on Thursday. All right, guys, thank you all for joining. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Live stream tomorrow is going to be a good one. Hope to see you all in that one. All right, thanks for joining today, and hope to see you all tomorrow.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Hi guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Now make sure you like and subscribe, and most of all, go into the YouTube and check our other content that we provide here at The 5ers.